Hello, I'm Mark Ells, Barnstable's town manager, and this is my town manager update for the period of January 8th through January 28th. We continue with preparation of our operating and capital budgets for FY26. This will be ongoing now right into the early spring. We're looking forward to our Comprehensive Financial Advisory Committee doing a presentation at Town Council on its analysis of our comprehensive wastewater management plan funding model. They're planning on doing that at Council on February 6th. I've also attached their report to my town manager update in case anybody would like to take a look at that. That was actually presented or sent to Town Council back in December. The Office of Management and Budget, which oversees the performance of federal agencies and administers the federal budget, has placed a temporary pause on all federal grants and loans effective at 5 p.m. Tuesday, January 28th. This pause is intended to give federal departments time to evaluate recent executive orders. The pause excludes Social Security, Medicare, and direct individual assistance, but will likely impact funding for public programs, nonprofit support, and local projects. It includes the awarding of new grants and the disbursement of funds from existing federal awards. If we're impacted by this, we have sufficient short-term cash to ensure that there won't be immediate disruption to Town of Barnstable local services. Departments are assessing affected programs and will prepare contingencies plans if needed. We're closely monitoring the development and will keep you advised as additional information becomes available. The town is proceeding with a short-term license for the town-owned parking lot at 30 Ocean Street in Hyannis. The parking area does not currently have access, and a user must cross the abutting property to utilize the parking lot. The abutter has requested that the town grant a short-term license for the use of the property as a parking lot. This license arrangement will provide the town time to develop a strategy for retention or disposal of that property. The town put this property out for disposal. We put it out to bid, and we would do that with a lease or sale back in 2023, but the town council ultimately did not approve the recommended sale of the asset, and it was to this particular abutter. A short-term license allows for continued use of the parking lot on this property while we look at various concepts for longer-term use of the property. When the Great Streets program moves forward with the two-way traffic through this area, this parcel may end up providing a long-term use for pedestrian connectivity in the area, and the town council may also choose to repurpose the property at that time. We'll continue to look at options, and we'll keep you advised as we progress on the matter. As previously reported, the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs issued a notice of public hearing and draft regulations for the implementation of Public Lands Preservation Act, now referred to by EEA as the Open Space Act, and that is attached. This particular Public Lands Preservation Act and the draft regulations concern the process of mitigation for the disposition or change in use of lands or interest in lands protected under Article 97 of the amendments to the state constitution. I had reported earlier that our legal department had taken this under review and would comment. The town attorney's office has submitted comments on the draft regulations, and the comment letter is attached. So if you'd like to take a look at it, you can do that. And we can certainly keep you advised as this matter progresses as well. I met with Sajanya Paul of the MIT Renewable Energy Facility Siting Clinic regarding their fall semester clinic report. They're interested in continuing with the stakeholder assessment and to have a discussion with the town as to the next efforts that would benefit public engagement in the town. I agreed to discuss the attached report with staff and the town council, and that I would get back to them in the near future. I'm very supportive of continuing this relationship, certainly through the spring semester 2025. Look forward to further conversation. Earlier today, the town of Barnstable hosted the Cape Cod Association of Public Procurement Officials for their monthly meeting. The Inspector General, Jeffrey Shapiro, was in attendance. The Inspector General's office is an independent oversight agency that promotes good government by preventing and detecting the misuse of public funds and public property. They conduct confidential investigations, improve transparency in government, help government run more effectively, and educate government employees and the public to help government operate efficiently and use public funds appropriately. I had an opportunity to meet with the Inspector General, and he commented on the outstanding job Barnstable's professional staff does, and he looks forward to continuing to support Barnstable and Cape Cod. I want to thank Amber Patterson, our Barnstable's Chief Procurement Officer, on a job well done. And finally, Kelly Colby, our Communications Manager for the Public Works Department, will provide an update on water resource management planning, including the Comprehensive Wastewater Management Plan. Thank you.
Hello, Kelly Colby from the Department of Public Works, and I will be walking you through this week's Water Resources Management Update. To begin, a little bit of housekeeping. We'll take a look at some of our regulatory compliance initiatives, the first being the watershed permit. Since we last reported, we continue to meet with Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection regularly as our watershed permit application progresses through various stages of review. Our most recent meeting was held at the end of November to review our draft permit, and we continue to collaborate with Mass DEP on any of the necessary adjustments and memos needed to continue to move that watershed permit to a full permit as opposed to draft. We continue to make great advancements and are excited to bring that permit to the Barnstable community. Additionally, our 5-year adaptive management plan update, our ad hoc committee, the CWMP ad hoc committee, continues to meet regularly. Our most recent meeting, held January 25th of this week, focused on how the CWMP supports community and economic growth. Featured speakers included Andrew Gottlieb, the Executive Director from the Association to Preserve Cape Cod, as well as Barnstable's Planning and Development Director, James Kupfer. As a reminder, resources, including the ad hoc committee agendas, meeting minutes, and meeting recordings can be found at barnstablewaterresources.com/ad hoc committee, as well as on the Town of Barnstable under the Boards and Committees webpage. This committee, as a reminder, will be instrumental in preparing policy and adaptive management recommendations to the Council as part of our required 5-year update. Next, we'll shift over to available sewer connections. Now, Chris Gadd, our communications assistant at the Department of Public Works, did introduce this table as he previously reported our water resources management update. And I'd like to just continue by providing a little context as to what we're showing here. Really what we're depicting is our available sewer connections across the entire municipal sewer system throughout town. So the first project you'll see here listed, Stewart's Creek. The note below does remind you that this project was completed prior to the CWMP. For the purposes of being transparent and thorough about the available sewer connections in town, we do include this project, but I like to just make sure that you have that note of context. Similarly, the Hyannis Avenue project, this was a private sewer extension that was funded privately and completed privately, but does benefit the CWMP. So we do include the available sewer connections and our percentage of connections completed, again, just to be thorough for all sewer connections available throughout town. But really the meat of what we're looking at here are our CWMP sewer expansion projects, the first being Strawberry Hill Road, followed by Route 28 East. Since we last reported, the Route 28 East project notifications for sewer connections have begun to be distributed. The Department of Public Works sent our project closeout notification at the end of the calendar year, just after the Christmas holiday. And then the Health Division has followed up with their notice to connect, their notice of sewer hookup connection notifications. Those are continuing to be in progress for about 154 properties that now have sewer connection available to them. So all told, when you're looking at the Strawberry Hill Road and the Route 28 East projects, you'll see we are starting to see some progress with connections being completed. The Strawberry Hill Road project in particular, we are just hovering below the 50% completion mark there, and we're continuing to see active permits come in for sewer connections. Now, one thing I do want to note here, just talking with our folks in the field, specifically our sewer connection program manager, is we are starting to see a little bit of a lag in terms of connections just because of the time of year. Just looking outside, we've had some really cold weather recently that results in frozen ground that makes some of this work a little bit more challenging. And then also just, very notably, the availability and bandwidth of our licensed sewer installers. So you do see that we are again hovering just below that 50% completion mark. And we do expect that that will continue to have an upward tick as the weather warms and we have some more suitable weather for some of these connections. With that said, there are property owners who have applied for variances to extend their 6-month deadline to connect to sewer. As a reminder, that process is being handled by the Barnstable Health Division. So DPW, the implementers, responsible for the completion of the sewer construction, but this project doesn't rest solely on us. This is really a collaborative effort across multiple entities within town. The Barnstable Health Division, as I noted, really managing the sewer connection process and the mandate to connect to sewer. And then, of course, our friends at the Treasurer Tax Collector's Office who are handling the sewer assessment portion of sewer connection and the CWMP process. So great work being done, and we are eager to continue to see that completion rate increase for our available sewer connections. That paves the way to discuss our active sewer construction projects, the first being Centerville Village Sewer Expansion North Phase. As a reminder, the construction contract for this project was awarded to CC Construction, and we are currently in construction startup mode. Pre-construction activities started earlier this year, and our public outreach process for this project began even before that in early September. That project notification went out via certified mail, USPS certified mail, and it went to all properties identified to receive sewer as part of this project. That included our sewer connection form, as well as a wealth of information about the sewer connection process, frequently asked questions, and a general overview of what to expect throughout construction. That does segue nicely into our anticipated construction. Right now, our contractor is anticipating that true sewer installation and excavation will begin as early as that first week of March. More to come on the public outreach process for the active sewer construction. But to note, that project, we are looking at an estimated completion of spring 2027. So essentially a 2-year construction project set to truly break ground this coming March. Again, as a refresher, the project route you can see here to the left of your screen in that light lilac lavender color. It does feature a portion of Route 28 from Finney's Lane to Old Stage Road, as well as Old Stage Road from Route 28 to Chute Flying Hill Road, Chute Flying Hill Road from Old Stage Road to Service Road, Finney's Lane from Route 28 to Mothers Park Road, as well as portions of Main Street Centerville from Mothers Park Road to Old Stage Road. So it's a very large project in terms of sewer construction. And it does also include 3 pump station locations, the first being a town-owned parcel at 567 Chute Flying Hill Road, an easement on a portion of 944 Chute Flying Hill Road, and Mothers Park Road. We'll look at all of those a bit closer on the next slide. So one more note of context, just to review our contract conditions as we prepare for excavation in the roadway. Currently, the contractor is allowed to work Monday through Friday and perform construction from 7 a.m. to 3:30 p.m. One note, sort of a caveat here, that work within Route 28 will be overnight during the hours of approximately 9 p.m. to 5 o'clock a.m. When we get closer to that work starting, we'll of course have our traditional public outreach process begin, including media releases and traffic advisories and mobile app notifications, as well as social media. But I do want to note that this is really a lessons learned concept here. When we completed construction for the Route 28 East Sewer Expansion Project, we did transition a portion of that work in Route 28 to the overnight hours to help mitigate traffic disruption as well as access to our local businesses. It did serve to benefit those local businesses. So in the areas of Route 28 where we're really working alongside a lot of our commercial entities, we will see that construction transition to the overnight hours once again. Currently, the contract states that no work can occur on town-observed holidays or from Memorial Day to Labor Day. I do want to note that all of these contract conditions, specifically the work hours and working on holidays, are subject to change and can be modified upon approval of the DPW director. That's important to note because in instances where we don't want to hinder progress, you may see the contractors be approved to work on certain holidays. Most recently, we saw this on MLK Junior Day in particular. So just something to note that everything is always subject to change to the extent possible when it makes technical sense and sense in terms of allowing our progress to continue. Now we'll look at the actual roadwork that is upcoming. The first area where we'll begin to see a more visual presence is the Mothers Park area. We are anticipating startup to commence as early as next week, potentially Tuesday, February 4th. Again, some leeway here, but we do expect to see the contractor really have a much more visible presence and mobilization next week at the beginning of February. This first phase of work around Mothers Park and Mothers Park Road in particular will include some site clearing, utility disconnections, and filling of the area. It's really going to facilitate the new intersection alignment of Main Street, Finney's Lane, and North Main Street, which needs to happen in preparation for the actual sewer construction within the roadway. On the next slide, I will share some images of the before and after as a refresher of what that new intersection alignment will look like when it is complete. The real bulk of work is anticipated to commence as early as Monday, March 3rd. This work is essentially going to bring sewer construction to two locations on the project route, the first being Chute Flying Hill Road within the vicinity of 944 Chute Flying Hill Road, which is the second image you see below the first on your screen, which is the location of one of our pump stations. That will facilitate the sewer infrastructure in the ground that will eventually hook into that pump station, and the crew will actually move north towards Service Road. The second location we anticipate mobilization will be the intersection of Main Street and Finney's Lane, so again within that vicinity of the Mothers Park area. Both of these work locations will require road closures to safely complete the sewer construction, especially due to the extent of the excavation within the roadway. Traffic management plans are in review, and once approved and final, we will begin our public outreach process, which will include variable messaging boards. You've already seen some of these in place already along the project route, which have communicated some of the pre-construction activities such as the tree clearing and general erosion control installation and fencing that you've seen go up along the pump station locations in particular. We'll also have more extensive in-road signage as we prepare for road closures and detours. And then of course, all of our traditional media vehicles, such as media releases distributed through the Town of Barnstable, the Town of Barnstable mobile app, social media, Barnstable e-news, and then we're also going to be distributing a print mailer. This is a little bit different than what we've done in the past, and it's again, a great example of lessons learned and feedback from our community. We will be mailing communication regarding the road closure for both of these locations, work zones, to properties not just along the project route, but also those auxiliary neighborhoods. This is, again, as I noted, directly feedback that we've received from our residents and property owners in town, wanting to be more aware of road closures and also what it means to sort of live and commute through a road closure. So we're looking at really having a targeted print mailer going to these properties, to the physical mailing addresses for the properties, so that folks living within these road closures understand what it means to commute in and out of a road closure, especially because these road closures will be expected to last for the duration of this construction season. So making sure everyone's really on the same page in terms of expectations and what these road closures mean, both for the work happening, but also for the folks who have to navigate within them. So as promised, a look at Mothers Park Road. So on the left-hand side of your screen, you'll see Mothers Park existing conditions, and on the right, you'll see the anticipated project completion, essentially what we anticipate happening here as proposed as part of the intersection realignment, but also the Mothers Park pump station. So this is all allowed through approved Article 97 legislation. And essentially what this project will deliver is the discontinuation of Mothers Park Road and the realignment of the intersection of Main Street, Finney's Lane, and North Main Street. What we will be doing here is actually increasing the park size by approximately 3,485 square feet, while also enabling this intersection realignment. The project will also include new sidewalks and crosswalks, including parking areas with handicap accessibility. And we actually will be opening up a second open space created on the south side of the intersection. So visually, it will really change the look of the park and of course the intersection. And you'll start to see some of that work happening as the construction crew mobilizes early next week. Next, we'll shift over to the Centerville Village Sewer Expansion Project, the South Phase. This phase is still in design. Our consultant is addressing town comments on the 50% design plans, and we do anticipate tentatively construction to start next fall of 2025. So originally, this was all part of one large sewer expansion project that was going to sewer the entirety of the Centerville Village area. But back previously when we've come to town council, we were approved the ability to separate this project into the north and south phase. So as we just described, the north phase is beginning construction. South phase, we are continuing design. This south phase will sewer Old Stage Road from Old Post Road to Main Street, so essentially where the north phase leaves off, as well as the bulk of Main Street Centerville and a portion of Craigville Beach Road. As we continue to work through design, our next steps include an anticipated public information meeting. We're looking at targeting that sometime in the spring-summer timeframe, where we will review the current status of design for this project. Next, we have the Route 28 West Sewer Expansion Project, which is further in design. We're about approximately 90% of the design plan set is complete at this point. The consultant is actually just in the process of addressing town comments and working towards that final 100% design set plan. We anticipate construction for Route 28 West to begin this coming fall of 2025 with an estimated completion of spring 2028. This project does include sewering Route 28 from Finney's Lane to Route 149, Osterville West Barnstable Road from Flint Street to Bumps River Road, Bumps River Road from Osterville West Barnstable to the Cape Cod Collaborative School, and Old East Osterville Road, Oldham Road, and Marquand Drive. We also have identified 4 pump station locations that you'll see listed below, including the former Marston Mills School property, a town-owned parcel located on Oldham Road, within the vicinity of the intersection of Osterville West Barnstable Road and Concord Lane, as well as a portion of the Cape Cod Collaborative campus. Objectives for this project, as a refresher, this infrastructure installed within the Route 28 West project is critical. It is the infrastructure serving as the backbone for our sewer expansion westward. This project also has the purpose of decommissioning and connecting the existing Marston's Mills wastewater treatment plant to the newly expanded municipal collection system, sewer collection system. You'll see to the left-hand portion of your screen sort of an aerial view of the Marston Mills wastewater treatment plant as it stands today. The CWMP identified decommissioning this facility as a major goal for this program for several factors, but 2 of those being number one, the significant capital costs it would require to actually rehab this facility. And then number two, the ability to bring sewer to this location and actually remove nitrogen from a very nitrogen sensitive watershed. So again, really the nutshell here is that without the infrastructure to be installed as part of the Route 28 West sewer expansion project, westward sewer expansion would, number one, not be able to be achieved, and number two, would not allow us to really achieve the goals of the CWMP, and would also result in the need to independently upgrade this current wastewater collection facility or treatment plant. So we are really eager to get that project running and breaking ground. So with that said, next steps for this project is our public information meeting. We will be hosting this on Wednesday, February 5th, so next week, at the Barnstable Adult Community Center at 6 p.m. This meeting will be in person, but will be recorded for future viewing. And really, this meeting is intended to provide property owners with the opportunity to discuss the current state of the sewer construction designs for this project. So we're not really getting into sewer construction just yet in terms of property by property sewer construction. This meeting really is going to be that precursor to really discussing the project as a whole, where the design stands, taking a look at the pump station locations and the needs for the 4 pump stations that we noted on the slide previously, and just really starting to pave the pathway for discussing an anticipated construction schedule. Printed notification was mailed to all property owners identified to receive sewer as part of the Route 28 West sewer expansion project. So this again is something we're doing a little bit differently than in the past. Traditionally, we've relied on media releases, social media, the Barnstable mobile app, which we are still deploying, of course. But knowing that print mailers have been serving us well for other projects and meetings in particular, we have notified everyone identified to receive sewer as part of this project about this meeting. This is really our first touch point for folks who will be receiving sewer as part of the 28 West project. Additionally, we've hosted briefings with the Barnstable School Committee and the Cape Cod Collaborative to discuss the pump stations at the locations applicable. And then just as a refresher, we've got a number of other sewer expansion projects in various stages of planning, survey, and design. These are long-term efforts, so you're not going to see a ton of movement on them week to week or month by month. But we have, again, awarded final design to Weston Sampson for our Finney's Lane Neighborhoods project, which is really the next sewer expansion project on the docket, as well as preparing RFPs or request for proposals for final design for Long Pond and Long Beach Road area projects. And then we continue to work through preliminary survey and design for Great Marsh Road and the Chute Flying Hill Road neighborhoods, Old Yarmouth Road, and the Old Craigville Road project. Next, we'll look at non-CWMP projects, the first being the 720 Main Street Pump Station Replacement Project. This project continues to remain under construction with the project being on budget and on schedule. Work hours continue Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m., and we estimate that completion of this project will be this coming spring of 2025. In-road work has resumed, and we have work that's required in the following locations, as you can see below: Dumont Drive, South Street at C Street, as well as sewer tie-ins on Main Street. So work will be happening, again, 7 a.m. to 4 p.m. in the road, as well as on-site at the pump station location. And then, of course, as a reminder, this project really is part of the town's sewer pump station rehabilitation program and specifically addresses capacity concerns within the town's growth incentive zone, as well as replaces aging infrastructure in the area. So again, 70% of construction is complete, and we are on track, both on schedule and on budget, for a spring 2025 completion. Next, we have a number of projects headed up by the Water Pollution Control Facility Division. The first being the nitrogen removal and headworks improvements project. As our last report, we actually do have the 90% design plans in hand for the nitrogen removal and headworks improvement project, and those are currently under review. We do anticipate construction for this project to begin this coming fall of 2025, and we will continue to keep our community updated as we work through final design. Additionally, the effluent disposal evaluation progress continues. Analysis is in progress. Water reuse and disposal alternatives analysis is with our consultant CDM Smith, and we also continue to host regular monthly meetings with Mass DEP as we work through that analysis and potential opportunities for effluent disposal. Additionally, the Bierce's Way sewer extension and vacuum sewer removal project is underway. This project is under construction in collaboration with the Massachusetts Department of Transportation, their Bierce's Way shared use path project. You've likely seen at this point in road construction happening on Bierce's Way. That did commence earlier this week on January 27th and will take this first phase approximately 2 weeks to complete. This does require a road closure on Bierce's Way from approximately Pitcher's Way to Enterprise Road, with all commercial and residential access maintained. The town did undertake public outreach through press release, or I should say media releases, and our various other communications channels, as well as in-person outreach to the commercial entities within that area and the apartment complex to make sure that everyone was fully aware of the road work happening and also how to navigate through that road closure. So again, we anticipate this first phase of work to take about 2 weeks to complete before we move again off-road to continue some of the sewer construction for this project. Additionally, the Straightway and Hyannis Water Treatment Facilities Improvements Project continues to move through design. This is specifically run through our water supply division. Our application for state revolving fund loan has been submitted, and we are currently working through final design and permit approvals. The big update on this project, per our last report, really is the upcoming presentation to the Cape Cod Commission, which will occur, that should actually say Thursday the 30th, January 30th at 3:00 p.m. And as a reminder, there is a project page available on the Town of Barnstable website under our water supply division page on the Department of Public Works, where you can learn more about this project as well as view most recent designs and public outreach communication materials. Lastly, we'll take a look at some of the water quality initiatives currently ongoing across town. The biggest update for the Clamshell Road and Old Shore Road stormwater improvement projects is that our 90% design plans are now in hand. Those are under review, and we do anticipate construction beginning in the fall of 2025. Additional project materials, including design plans, can be found at barnstablewaterresources.com/stormwater. So again, great forward movement on that project. As a reminder, that project is in collaboration with the Natural Resources Conservation Service. Specifically, we've received grant funds to help with drainage improvements at those locations. Per our last report, Mystic Lake has received its alum treatment. That alum treatment was completed in early December. We will resume monitoring this coming April of 2025, and monitoring will take place from April through October of 2025 for that project, as well as our cyanobacteria monitoring program, which will resume this coming spring. In addition to that, we do want to note that there is a seasonal water quality sampler position open. This position does report within the health division. So if you are interested or you know anyone interested in taking part in our water quality initiatives as a sampler, we certainly encourage, ahead of that program resuming this coming spring, for folks to apply for that open position. Additionally, I believe our communications assistant, Christopher Gadd, did note this in our last report, but our Long Pond Marston's Mills floating treatment wetland pilot project is currently stored for the winter season. Again, just due to seasonality, we take the floating treatment wetlands in for the summer or for the winter season, and they will then be deployed again in warmer, more comparable months. Samples will be taken this coming spring and fall, and a final report on this pilot program is expected in 2026. And just as a note, this project is in collaboration with UMass Dartmouth's School for Marine Science and Technology. So a lot of great work happening on the water quality front for both our fresh and saltwater projects. And we will continue to keep our community updated as we resume water quality monitoring this coming spring. That concludes our water resources update. Thank you.